Hi everyone from Giaco. After living over a decade in Finland, I decided to help building a bridge between the English-speaking people living in Finland and the local community. Listen to my podcast to discover the most interesting and incredible people from Finland and to dig into Finnish culture and controversial issues that impact all of us in our daily life. And now sit back and enjoy listening. Bye! Hi everyone, the following is a conversation with Ville Tavio from the True Finns party. With him, we talk about the European Union impact on Finland, about energy, political powers and immigration situation and policies in Finland. Please enjoy. Hi Ville, how are you?
Hey, I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you. So first of all, thank you for your time and for this interview. I thought you would be a really nice guest. You are part of a party, but tell us something quite fast. Who you are and what do you do?
I'm a politician from the Finns party. I'm the current chairman of the group, so I pretty much handle and lead everyday politics of our party here in the Parliament of Finland, in Eduskunta. I'm from Turku, and I'm a lawyer by profession. I used to run a small law firm in Turku before I got elected into Parliament.
Okay, so why did you choose politics?
To be honest, I probably just wanted to try it out at first. I was asked to join the party in the communal elections in 2012, and I did. Before that, I had thoughts of supporting Finns party anyways, so this party was a natural choice for me. My reasons for choosing the Finns party were the European Union politics, the Euroscepticism, and the immigration policies. Also, I consider the climate change policies a big of that. This is probably the three biggest topics. Freedom of speech was very important also, as when I was a law student, I remember the ruling that the Supreme Court of Finland gave to well-known Finns party member Jussi Halla-aho, and that was a judgment that many of us thought it was opposing the freedom of speech too much. So I do remember this from the legal point of view, that it was it quite much attracted me to join the Finns party also.
Can you tell us more about this event? What was exactly the speech that Halla-aho gave that created this?
Yes, it was about that there was some kind of newspaper headlines that stated that Finns are genetically somehow stupid or consume much alcohol or something like this.
Yes.
And he very much jokingly said something similar about, I think it was about Somalis.
Yes, okay.
And he also stated that he doesn't understand if the law gives you freedom to say basically anything about Finnish people.
Yes.
You can basically mock them any way you like. But if you would mock the very exact similar way the Somali people, then you would be held as a criminal in Finland.
Yes,
and I still think the ruling went wrong in the Supreme Court, but this was it was a vote decision, and actually the both like preliminary trials in the district court and in this King's Court, they both actually decided otherwise. So Supreme Court changed the whole decision upside down. And back in the days when I was in law school, I just couldn't believe it, and I thought that this ruling is terribly wrong for the direction that Finland's free speech is going, and obviously it has gone a little bit downside, and these kind of allegations, but that's that's about it.
Yes. So that pushed you to stand for something and to fight for something.
Yes, freedom of speech has always been something that I would choose to fight for, because like some it was stated in the French early philosophers also, that was it Voltaire or who, but that also said that I will defend what your right to speak, even though I completely disagree what you
with the
say.
Subject and what you say. Yeah, I think, for example, my point of view, if I see, for example, or compared to America, for example, the media, it's really much separated between parties, BBC, NBC. So even if also they hold the freedom of speech quite high, information are pretty easily changed. So I understand this point that like freedom of speech, it's really important, but things can be also changed and said in another way, even conveying the same or trying to convey the same point. What if you would have to say, what are your life values? So what do you stand behind?
Well, freedom for most of all is probably my guidelines, but also justice, although justice can be also debated. Well, so can be freedom.
Yes.
So freedom, justice, Finland's right for its own nation, Finland's independence.
Okay, and you think that the Finland independency, it's undermined, or it is in risk because of the European Union?
I do, and as from the value point of view, I do think that the independent national state, maybe a small one like Finland is a good example. A small national state can very well provide a very good level of freedoms and justice. If it would join, if it would join like a part of a larger empire, they tend to have maybe less freedom of speech and less justice, because they have more of a they have more in stake in case in means of power. So this is where I get to maybe answer your question more directly. The European Union has gained too much power, and naturally we can already say that Finland is part of the European Federal Union. We are a federal state in a federal union, so there is no doubt that the European Union has stepped on our independence.
Yes, but doesn't it work anyway that voting and each country's vote, it's equal, it's not different? So is it more of a power play that happens in the European Union? So if Germany proposes something because it is a mass power and economically it's really valuable for the whole Europe, is it so then actually the small player like Finland suffers because we don't have leverage, we don't have a possibility to make changes? Is it this? Because of course if there is a law or a decision, the votes are counting the same, right?
Yeah,
that's only
exactly.
on the paper, you think?
Well, looking at it's exactly like you kind of suggest there. In looking at the core level of how the Commission works, is basically that the main countries hold the power. It used to be United Kingdom, France, and Germany, and we had some kind of a power balance. But after Brexit, when the Englishmen left, it has led to a very bad situation where France and Germany are ruling together pretty much. Okay. If you simply look at the elections, for example, European Union, European Parliament elections, well, they have they have about 700 seats, I guess, and Finland has 13, if I remember correctly. So
yes.
you can count from that they have virtually no power, and even these elected people from Finland, they might disagree.
Yes,
they don't even basically. They still have the party politics there, so they are not basically united in all fronts anyways.
Yes.
I pretty much feel that it has been a failure, because Finland could have leverage if we would be more strict against European Union in certain proposals. Your old homeland Italy has proved this pretty much right, because when Italy took the strong stance in the European Union Recovery Fund,
yes,
they did get a lot of they get billions out of it.
Yes.
When Finland was the one who was paying.
Yes, this is a topic that comes up quite a lot. Also came up when European Union bailed out Greece. So,
exactly.
What do you think? Should have Finland stayed out, or do you think actually this was a good plan? And how did the plan play out?
Finland should have stayed out from the European Union. When the election was held in 1994, I wasn't old enough to vote.
Yes,
so
I wanted.
If I could vote now, it would be no. Of course, I don't know what I would have thought about it when I was 10 years old. But it's clear that the union has changed. And I still support very much cooperation of all the European nations. So I would have joined the European Free Trade Area like Norway.
Yes, because anyway, Europe has given Finland the possibility to trade more freely. Anyway, Finland,
like the European Free Trade Area.
Yes,
because no one can really claim that Switzerland or Norway has gained some kind of terrible loss from not joining European Union, really.
Of course, they are a power, and their strength and their economy. They are
when you look back to 1994, do you think Norway was much stronger than Finland?
No.
So basically, it's not the real case either.
So you think that because I understand the fact that European Union and the legislation that comes from the European Union has overtaken the power and the independence of each of the countries. But do you think there is anything that the European Union, because normally it is mentioned that freedom of travel, freedom of working, trading, those are the main points where Finland has gained, because Finland is a small player. Finland needs partners to import and export. The majority of the export are anyway towards Europe, and also the freedom to move, because of course the people can work abroad, or then people can come to work here. So do you think that these points are not valuable, are not enough to keep the European Union?
They are points that the European trade area could work pretty much without the European Union. We don't need the corrupt commission of Brussels to actually work to use free trade. You know, we have a free trade agreements with countries all over the world. We have we had free trade agreement with American countries, and basically free trade doesn't mean that you have to give the power to some sort of a new world order government.
Yes.
European monetary area was pretty much actually also it was also sold, or it was argued that it's good for Finland on the same much on the same reasons that you stated, like the movement, the tourism and the movement of funds and labor, but it proved out wrong. So you can pretty much have the free trade area without the federal state. That's completely possible, and looking at how trade works, you cannot really say that USA or China are doing poorly in trade because with Germany, because they are not part of European Union. So no, the whole world doesn't have to be European Union in order trade to work.
Do you think Finland gained something taking the euro, And do you think there is something positive behind it?
That was even worse than the European Union in some sense. That I think we can all agree that the European Union has been also a positive thing. I wouldn't say that there is not something positive in even though the Commission and the bureaucracy is difficult. I don't mean the what's good in it is the idea, I guess. So of course the idea of the nations in Europe
being united.
Being in the same front in many areas where they all benefit from it. It's very very good for them to do so. But European currency hasn't probably given such a benefit.
Anyway, Finland receives incentives and subsidies, money from the European Union for development.
Well, it's in our party we don't see it like that way, because basically if I give you 10 euros and you give me 5 back, so how much is my 5 euros worth really then? Okay,
so the trade you think is not worth it at the end, because because
the trade
more debt than what is the
Finland pays to the European Union much more than we gain from that. So we used to say that Finland is a net payer in European Union, which means that you pay more than you receive. So I don't know how much you can value this kind of gifts then, but in principle I don't know if it would be fair either to be like a net receiver, because that would be taking benefit of the other nations, and that's not really the core of the kind of nation state that I represent. I like to think that we are more equal than this kind of the other is slave of the other and so on.
So European Union, you think that gives from one pocket money but then takes from the other pocket more? So
it does. This is pretty much what happens in nationwide politics also. I mean national politics, but there is no money from the European Union. There is no money from the governments, from the state. It's all your money. It's taxpayer money. Don't believe politicians who say that they give you some kind of miracle money, pennies from heaven. It's not true.
This was quite a lot Timo Soinin when he pushed the True Finns to become anyway quite one of the third main parties, and in Finland that the critique to the European Union was quite strong, probably was at its peak. Is it nowadays still one big core part of the True Finns, of the perussuomalaiset? Is it still in the agenda?
Yes, it's still in the agenda, and this term we had the recovery fund, which Finns party only one as an only one of the bigger parties in parliament voted against, and we fought against it. We also had a slowing discussion where we held hundreds of speeches actually about it, and they took about a week. It has a fine name also to do so. It's called filibuster. You can look it from Google or Wikipedia, but it means basically that you are speaking and you are delaying something because of you hold such a long speech. And there was one MP who held a speech that probably lasted over 5 hours. Maybe it was like 8 hours long.
Yeah, okay. I see. But how do you see now, if you would win the election, how do you see that the European Union, and how do you see that Finland can detach from European Union? Do you see it possible?
Probably the main concerns has been about security issues, Russia's attack on Ukraine, and the idea that Europe has to stay very united on defense issues. It's pretty much argued that Finland has to be member of European Union in order to do defense operation with other European nations. But Finland is now not joining NATO, so I think as a NATO country Finland has a slightly better possibility, or would have slightly better possibility.
So there is no need of Europe anymore.
Europe is a continent, which is Europe. Europe is. I love Europe. It's the most important continent for me because I live in this continent of ours, and
European Union.
Yes, European Union. It's it should be basically European Union. So that the Brussels, the Commission should be tear apart and reconstruct as something that would only work for the free trade and this kind of liberalizations or helping. It should help people to speak more freely. It should not try to limit freedom of speech. We have I want people to understand that European Union has over 40,000 bureaucrats working in it, and that's terrible. That's a big government. Exactly.
They must save with a lot of expenses.
Yes, this is exactly the kind of government that you wouldn't want to be ruled by.
Yes,
it's huge. It's wasting money and it's making bad decisions.
What is your stand on the NATO?
I was in favor of joining the NATO or sending the NATO application, and we are still in the application process, which has been delayed mainly by Turkey, but also by Hungary. But I think Hungary will be more easy to work with. But I hope we get to be part of NATO soon.
Okay, and if you would win the election, would you agree to Turkey's demands of returning terrorists to speed up what they call terrorists?
No, I wouldn't. It's something that we should look on case by case basis, because Finland has its own laws, and by being we have to trust in our own laws, or we have to follow our own laws at first. So I don't see much of I don't know if there is much need for us to change our laws, which would concern Turkey, but. I mean, we should probably. I mean, we should definitely try to do our best in cooperation with Turkey, and meaning we have to think that Turkey would be our future ally.
Yes.
We would have also. I have said that joining NATO means that Finland would also defend Turkey's borders, basically.
So I think that everyone agrees that all the parties and everyone is at least that is favorable with NATO, that we have to sit at the table with Turkey and negotiate. That's the only way around.
Yes, and it does look like Swedes are causing more issues there. That Sweden has more of the related issues with some sort of a terrorist people probably working there, but
terrorist organization.
Yes, but they yes, exactly. But we it's of course we have to be very extremely careful who we would call as a terrorist, but
yes, of course.
But we don't just throw it around because some other country says so. But we have to investigate each case.
Because maybe freedom of speech is something that is not really applicable to all the countries.
Exactly.
In Turkey there is also this situation what they call terrorist might not be considered by our law or by our means.
Yes.
Yeah. So. It's a fundamental part of what you believe and what the true Finns believe, correct?
Yeah.
About the European Union.
Yeah.
And you already fastly mentioned immigration and climate change.
Yeah.
What about climate change? What is your view, your opinion?
We are against spending. I would say that in principle, Finland has gained a lot of debt recently. Means that the state is taking much loan, and we are getting in trouble as we have too much of the state debt. So, Finns party stance is that we cannot use climate change as an excuse to take more debt. So we cannot spend our money on climate change.
So on the top level, you believe in climate change.
I do believe in climate change, but I am no scientist to say that how much of the climate change is human caused. I have read a lot of studies that back in when I was younger, and I was still like kind of at some point I was actually like very obsessed with the topic, and I kept reading all the science, and I just concluded that it's not as easy as they say in the by politicians, but the actual science is discussed. It hasn't been discussed in the last 2 terms really in the Parliament, and many say that the Parliament is not place to discuss science, but I do find it the most important that also climate change studies would be very objective, and also that they wouldn't be like only like politic statements.
Yes.
So
Yeah,
I think it's not as a politician I said it's not probably the most relevant thing that what are my scientific views on climate change, but the actual measures that we are taking are the important ones, and Finns party always states that we shouldn't do more than the other countries. And right now we are spending more money on climate change than any other country in the whole European Union, even though we have the largest state debt. So this is the real issue. And European Union has ruled that the goal for carbon neutrality is in the year 2050, and Finland's goal is 2035, and that's the most ambitious in the world.
So very you think expensive. There is no rush?
There is no such a rush, and it's too expensive to be in such a rush. And this doesn't mean that companies couldn't develop whatever they feel beneficial for their businesses, but from the state point of view, it's madness.
It's I understand when you were talking about the climate change. I do believe in climate change, and I understand your concern. I think that how much is it man-made and how much is it other causes. Do you think that there is a bit of taboo because frequently it is a given that is not that much discussed, but everyone knows, of course, internet is full of misinformation. So if someone wants to go on internet and finds points against the climate change, those can be found. But do you think that there should be a more scientific way to also express this to the public, like to the voters and to the supporters? Because anyway, you are not a scientist, but what the scientist will say to you and the reports done by scientists, they affect your decision and affect what you have to spend, because you will have a budget, and you have anyway to allocate the budget accordingly also to these mega trends. So do you think there is a bit of taboo, and what would you do to open up and to have a scientific discussion before the government make a decision? What would you do?
Well, that's a tough question really, because the problem is in its core, like I said, that climate change science seems to be a little bit corrupt, but the real issue is that if you only listen to people who benefit from this, there are companies that of course sell products that they make money with, which are somehow they are somehow environmentally friendly, or they have less carbon footprint or so on, and they are selling their products. If you listen to those, that's a big, of course, a big economical. It's like it's a big companies already powering up on climate change in order also to get the state money out of the states or European Union fund money and this kind of issues. So if you listen to those big players, they will tell you only one-sided view. Or if you look at the far left and environmentalist type, where people are fanatical about it, they will only do it to gain more power themselves. So they are not either a very reliable source. So I guess the main part in the parliament is and this would obviously be the case in any other legislation as well. You have to have the most. You have to have many sources of information to see different points of view, and then to decide what's reliable and what has to be done. So if even though someone comes here and says that everyone in Finland has to stop breathing in order to avoid climate change, I would argue that's not the case. We might have like a different opinion of it.
So you think that it's corrupted by companies that have monetary interest in the change?
Yes, and I think, to be honest, I have seen also that big companies who are involved in this sort of industries, they have to do this because they are regulated out, or they are basically either not given the state funds and aids to their business, or they are regulated out. So if you make a company that is involved in these somehow green policies, you have to start kissing the ass of the Green Party politicians basically and doing this. But this is something. It's an effect from much deeper level, like we spoke. So
okay, because if we apply basic free market law to the climate change, you can think that business opportunities are coming and opening up new technologies. So more and more companies decide to enter the segment and to enter the business because they see that there are opportunities to make money. So if we want to see it from a open market view, the fact that many companies are involved, it's because it is what people want now. It's not because there are powers behind.
Yes, that might be the case also. In many cases, probably yes, but I see the world maybe a little bit readier in that sense that there is no real market demand for these things. There is no. The market demand is created by politicians. If you take the plastic straws, for example, know when you go to McDonald's, and the European Union, European Union abolished the plastic straws in the Coca-Cola cans in the whole of the European Union McDonald's. I don't think any consumer demanded that. Do you think so? I don't think so. It was regulation that was made by, and this made the companies that made the paper straws very rich.
Yes, but that was driven by the waste of plastic.
Well, look. Let's take a moment. Look at Finland, for example. Have you ever heard of a straw really getting into the ocean from Finland? How would that happen?
I understand your point, because
it would need to be like a sailor on a boat that would throw the straw to the ocean.
Yeah, and it's
I know some straws would probably end up in oceans. I do, but if you look at the whole scale, the whole big picture, it was no issue here. The plastic waste is it's coming from India, I think. From when I've seen it on the videos and heard about the plastic waste.
That's true. Me coming from the south of Europe, from Italy, I see anyway that the way the garbage is disposed or was disposed was much different, especially if we think about 10, 15, 20 years ago. So the fact that Finland has always been environmentally aware, and that the system has been in place for long, makes Finland a model, and it's totally different than other countries. But don't you think that the fact that other countries have had to align and follow the same, of course, the amount of straws that are thrown in other countries might be much more, but I think can't we all participate even with the small? So you don't think that?
No, it's like you mentioned, the waste disposal and handling of the waste. So that's a good example of something that I think there is a natural demand for it. People don't want to have the waste in the soil. They don't want to have it in the oceans. So we need a better garbage disposal operations, and that is something that Finland is very good at. So that is something, an example, like I said, that there are good examples. This is a good example of business that is it has a good it's beneficial, and it has people do have real need for this. But I mean, that's exactly which shows the paradigm that instead of getting rid of the straws, maybe you should just make garbage management better, regulate that, instead of making people to not be able to use a plastic straw. This is if you look at the United States, that has still the plastic straws. I wonder if they have like a big issue with these straws. I don't think though. I don't think that's a really big issue over there.
Probably most likely. In this, I might jump on the same train as you, that there is lobbying in America. It's well known that there is a lot of lobbying because all the political process and the political system, it's based on funding, and funding, huge fundings. They come from big corporations. So I understand the power play is totally different. So of course might be that topics are not discussed because they are inconvenient. So in that sense, I think that maybe we are talking about slightly two different things. But if we consider, if we make maybe it's funny example, but if the European Union, it's a mother, and the countries are the kids. Finland, it's the kids. It is the kid that is always behaving really well, and it's conscious that we cannot pollute. We have to socially behave well. We have to pay taxes. So this kind of kid then sees the other kid, maybe other countries in Europe where the kid misbehave, even if it's told, look, implement a better wasting system. They don't do it. You have to control taxes and black market, and they don't do it. So don't you think that, like, of course the two kids, they feel that they are mistreated because they are different, but shouldn't the mother apply rules to help put up to the same level the two kids? What do you think? Because if I think about corruption in Italy, or if I think about waste system in Italy, the way of the culture is that thing has to be imposed, and they have to be follow up and sometimes forced. Otherwise people tend to not adopt the thing. But then Finland, for example, when they are told to do something, they immediately do it. And the climate change that you said, like countries are trying to be footprint negative by 2050. Finland decides 2035. So Finland, it's the best kid, but shouldn't like this.
It's gonna be a poor kid also. It might be the best, but it gonna be poor. When it continues long enough, you're too poor to do anything. So when you become poor, you cannot anymore. You cannot be the leader anymore. This is what happening. The whole European Union. This is kind of also the paradigm in the climate change policies. We should basically tax the China, tax the Chinese, maybe the Indians. I mean, if we tax ourselves to death, what's the end is that all the factories will be in China. They are already, like, major part of them is manufacturing is in China. So it means that we have taxed ourselves to death. We have not solved the problem. We have moved it to China. So in the end, looking at you can if you look at the international policies just like this, the countries can pressure each other by money. Basically, but if you cannot pressure by money, what can you do? Russia couldn't just say that, okay, we will buy Ukraine. They couldn't. The Ukrainians said, well, we are not selling our country to you. So we see what happens to the Russians had to came with the weapons. So what's it gonna be? Whether you would like would you think that European Union should armly attack some country in order that to make them follow some climate regulations? I don't think so.
They use money as a leverage.
Yeah, well, they try to use the money as a leverage. They try to use the policies, but in the end, it's the money, power regulations in the European Union, of course. Yeah. But I mean, the countries that are not part of the European Union, you cannot do much. But I think I do think that the European Union had some European Union was clever because at the end, at the beginning of the European Union, they made the directives, even though we have had some bad directives, obviously. But when European Union makes directive, it means that it gives guidelines to something.
Okay, yes.
So it's a very good idea to give guidelines instead of making strict laws about what you have to do. So
Yes.
If the European Union has made a guideline for the carbon neutrality in 2050, so that's a guideline, and then
yes.
it's
not imposed. Yes.
Yeah, well, no, you have to. The guideline has to be followed,
Yes,
or as well. They have to be followed exactly as much as, but the guidelines give you more broader decision.
Yeah,
so it's
what
much.
to do
Yeah, exactly.
about it,
So that's better. That's better. It has a lot of to do, for example, with the private cars, because Finns party is the biggest party of the people who own a private car.
Yes.
Especially full engine car, I guess. But I mean, they have made the Finland current government has decided that these private vehicles are like a big problem. So then they are after them, but we disagree, and we think people should be let drive freely and affordably and so on. But this is also an example to our previous discussion.
Yeah.
Like there is no actually looking at if you drive a car, do the customers really have a demand for biofuels? I don't think they really do. I think people are driving their car. They don't really. Most of them people don't care if it's biofuel or fossil fuel. So also this, once again, the state has to regulate in order to create this business. So the business is not very natural, it's state created.
Yes, the assumption there is that if we believe that we have an impact on the climate change, then we want to be aware not to waste the world for our kids or for the next generation. So the assumption, of course, it's whether you believe or not in climate change, but once you assert it and you say yes, there is, and we have an impact, then to me the consequence, it's quite logical. We have to try to diminish. And I think that the fact that, for example, if you step into a Finnish bus, people don't want to bother other people sitting next to them, or they don't want to scream inside because they don't want to bother. So it's kind of like start from your little garden, from your own small behavior, and it will affect as a wave all the others. So if I take this same really good, extremely good way of thinking society, then you transpond it to the car. So you think like, okay, should I do with my own little car? Should I make an example and start working on the big picture? I mean,
I agreed with you that this far, but when you are looking at the decision that a family makes, the main concern of a family is to bring money. Bring food to the kids, and to be afford to buy the car.
Yes.
So the main most of the family's main concern is probably not to think how exactly can we like donate more to climate change, but in order of thinking of we are speaking of reducing the CO2 emissions. That's something that we can technologically do, and we have been doing so far. Finland is the world leader in that, no doubt, and we can do more. The main concern is money. Once again, like I said before, that we cannot make ourselves too poor doing this.
Yeah, so I understand, because you are worried that to take care of the European Union needs and money, and to take care of the climate change will take away money from the people.
Yeah, exactly, and it will. The companies, when the labor cost and the manufacturing cost is too high, we have seen the companies will move the factories to where it's cheaper, and that's more polluting in China.
Yes, but do you think that the other parties, they have a different agenda on this? If I think that, like, I'm pretty sure the other parties also don't want the people to become poorer. So aren't all the politicians aligned that they want to take care of people's pocket? So why do you think you have a better approach?
We are more pragmatic on this issue, I think, than ideological. We try to see the big picture, and the big picture is, for example, that like we spoke about the science of climate change earlier, and I said that it's good to do your own research on things that you probably will have some freedom of mind after that. But from my point of view and my conclusion is that it cannot be stopped. So the most of the charts and discussions that I see going on very much, I got the main lines, I think they are a little bit ridiculous, saying that this is somehow that we are stopping the climate change. Even slowing it is somehow at the moment it doesn't look very likely. The world population has we have a massive population growth on Earth. We have the China economy blooming. They are still the number one manufacturing, and they use the coal and fossil fuels. Russia is waging war. I don't know how much is the fossil footprint of the war, of Bush pushing war. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And the whole Africa issue, where we are trying to start up underdeveloped countries or developing countries. We are trying to start their economies with fossil fuels again.
Yes.
And we are investing actually them using. Finland is basically supporting African countries to mine more coal. We are doing very much them to do so. So I mean, at the same time, if you are thinking like, oh, we have to we cannot use paper cup anymore. Paper cups are being the European Union is going to abolish the paper cups.
Okay.
And they're switching them to plastic cups, which is kind of ridiculous. But at the first they said plastic cups are wrong and they're going to paper cups, and now they're saying actually the paper cups were even worse, and now they're going to plastic cups. I do think the plastic cup is actually worse.
Yes.
But anyway, it means that they are focusing on these very minor issues that have a little effect globally.
I understand.
Some innovation can be. I'm not against innovation on the industry. All environmentally friendly innovation is welcome, and this is like where we do agree. All parties actually would agree, but Finns party is really the most strict about using more public's money or taxpayers' money to the climate change.
So you wonder why we should put subsidies, money help into purchasing electrical car. Then when we at the same times we put money into mining coal, you see this again, like take from the left and take from the right.
Well, I think this is happening, even though people don't really tend to see it. I do think like when
this topic is not discussed anywhere.
It's not discussed enough. Like and I know this has been discussed, but like the wind power plants, which are increasingly popular at the moment, and they were given taxpayers' money at first to launch heavily. Now they are more market working. I assume, but still, like it's not discussed that also these power plants have a shorter life
cycle. Yes.
Yeah, and they also consume raw materials. Maybe a similar topic like the electric vehicles, the lithium batteries.
Yes.
They are like problem waste, and they are also mined these minerals from rare parts of the world where maybe they are like tearing the.
It's actually I'm aware. Like I think it's cobalt that it's inside the lithium battery, that it's mined in one part of Congo. And there is the worst slavery that ever happened in the world. Even in the colony times there was not such slavery. So I understand when some topics might feel socially, or some changes might be socially acceptable and good, like changing to more batteries, but they have an impact somewhere else where we don't see it. So it's an impact on the on the Congo people and Congo kids and Congo families. So I totally understand that sometimes we blind our eyes not to see the full picture. But don't you think now, especially when the war started and the Europe woke up to the dependency to Russia and Russian oil, don't you think that Finland actually made a good decision also, not only for the environmental point of view, but also from the strategical political point of view, to be more independent with nuclear, with wind, and with its own supply? Don't you think that's good? And actually those investments were strategically the best that anyone ever did, don't you think?
Well, not the wind, really. I think wind is still it's given a little bit too much credit, but solar could be really beneficial in the future. But nuclear has been a big part of the Finnish energy sector, and that's a very good decision, which our party supported. And I do remember, like everyone else here does, how much Green Party opposed using nuclear energy. They were, they were binding themselves here to the doors in order to stop nuclear energy. They did everything they could in their power to stop Finland building nuclear power plants. So I think it's kind of hypocrite from them to say to us now that, hey, see how we were right. They were actually wrong. So actually, the environmental people were quite wrong in this, and I'm happy that they didn't win, because otherwise, we wouldn't have this energy at all.
Yeah, but there are also in this there are many different opinions how the impact of the nuclear power plants is on the environment compared to other sources.
It's a foreign fuel anyways, because we don't have the uranium. So it's a foreign fuel. So
yeah, that's also true.
But maybe the same with the wind power plants. I mean, I don't know how much we have parts for these plants in Finland also. But I mean, we do have a great national resources also in Finland. The third. Is that I don't want to give you the wrong English word. Is that the word? The fossil soil, the soil.
Yes.
Let me see. It's peat. Okay, it's peat.
Yes.
So I don't know. Okay, well, I made a mistake. It's peat, and funny mistake it was. But I mean, it's peat. So the peat is actually a very good fossil fuel that Finland would own.
Yes, that was banned, was not allowed to use.
It's a tragic decision.
And you would like to take it back?
Yeah, I would actually. We have been counting it. I think we could get it 8 times bigger use of energy. It was. I think it was. I might be wrong, but I think it was. I think it was under 10. It's been under 10% of the energy sector, but but you could grow it hugely, and.
But aren't the problem the emissions?
It's because of emissions, but that leads us to a very interesting question: how has Norway somehow stopped pumping of oil because of emissions? Have Qataris or Saudi Arabians, the Gulf states, have they somehow stopped pumping the oil because of emissions? So once again, our party is trying to be pragmatic, so meaning that we should use this kind of national resource and like move it on the same line.
We are then going to push forward the moment in which you cannot turn anymore the ship, because then the climate change and the degrees of the earth has gone too high, and then we have consequential problem of like crops, so we don't have food because it's too hot.
Yeah, well, I think the crop fields would actually be much. They would be in Finland. They would do better. And they will do better.
Yes.
So, but once again, of course, being too selfish, no. I think the state has to be selfish on some level and see all. Of course, we have to be utilitarian, as seeing all the time if we can aim for greater good by doing so. So I think Finland is obviously able to develop these technologies or being part of the CO2 emission cuts, because it is a wealthy country that can do so.
Yeah.
And this is something that we pretty much, I think all the politicians would pretty much agree. So I guess our main concerns are that we would like to keep the Finland wealthy, and that would be of course benefit of the Finnish taxpayers as well. So I guess it could be win-win, but we are opposite force for spending too much on this.
So you would trying to save money from the European Union big machine with so many expenses and demands of investment for other countries, and diverting the investment in energy, so using more own country energy and developing the resources that we have here. In this way you will save a lot of money. This is the idea, that then money can be used to raise the quality life and the level of the life of the people living in Finland.
I think it's I haven't thought, maybe that sounds too complicated. It's more like instead of recycling all the money through European Union, you should just use it here.
Yes.
So recycling money to different offices means more bureaucracy, and that's it's based on. So yeah, I think 40,000 people in Brussels and in Luxembourg is a waste.
Okay.
Or in Strasbourg, I mean. Yeah.
Do you think climate change is more of a conspiracy theory? Do you believe in this kind of idea that these changes are driven by companies and power play?
I don't believe in conspiracy theories in the way that the word implies. I don't think there is a group of people
benefiting from this.
I mean, I was saying I don't think there's like a group of people meeting in a secret chambers somewhere underground and planning and this. I don't believe in that, but some sort of I think there are many hidden lines in politics that people tend not to be aware of. So Green Party using climate change or Social Democrat Party using climate change as a way to more socialism is a vehicle like this. So if you have a problem, you can always solve it usually by giving encouragement or guidelines, or you can solve it by using strict rules and forcing. And the left has always been in favor of using more force and forcing everything by rules, whereas myself as more of a see myself more of in favor of liberalism, where you have to do these things like more favorable in different ways in order to people to give them to encourage them to do something. You have to let the people do more of their choices. So I have seen this. Maybe the climate change discussion is like a Trojan horse. How do I say it? So it looks beautiful, like, oh yes, you are saving the world, you are my savior, 14-year-old Greta Thunberg or someone like this. But when you look at closer, you see, okay, actually the policies that they are giving are only, they are making us slaves to the government and trying to enforce more rules to our lives.
So now in January, the first panel discussions for politicians have started, and of course this energy crisis and solution on energy have been one topic, but the party, the True Finns, the Perussuomalaiset, have been accused quite straightforwardly by Sanna Marin of almost racism. comparing. Okay, she was actually not to butcher what she said. It was comparing to what Timo Soini, for example, politics were, or ideas were. So, do you think you have shifted now? One of the topic you said at the beginning, it's immigration. So, do you think you have shifted towards a much more black and white policy, politics, ideology, or why you've been accused of quite it is an important word, racism. It is an important word. Of course, she said that she didn't say that you are racist, but she said that the speech given have more of a racism cut to it. So what do you think? Do you see that? What is your reaction to this?
No, we don't see it.
Okay, and so now that we open up this and we talk about immigration, so please, can you open up your own vision and party vision, ideas?
So basically, you could say that that the Finns party has been. I think we've been more intellectual about immigration policies actually than we were before. If you look at the 90s, really. From our party perspective, I think they weren't really that scientific about what to do with the immigration, what's like the best immigration policy. I think it's looked up much more carefully at the moment, and the main concern is that we think that the immigration level to Finland shouldn't be causing too much public spending, nor it shouldn't be negatively impacting Finnish independence or the cultural atmosphere. Very much of the critique that we have given is towards to Islamization. I think it's a lot of the critique is towards to people coming from the cultures that we see are not very well adjustable. And besides that, it's often about money once again, and we have the low employment rates. So looking at the Iraqis and Somalis, they're surprisingly low. Only like around 20% of the people are 30%. Employed. So, between that,
But then like one statistic was that the 71% of immigrant otherwise are employed, and it's about in line with what Finnish men are. So if we go into different races, as you said, Somali and Iranian people, they have lower percentage. But do you think that this is, you said that like some culture are not, do you see that some cultures cannot integrate, they are not so easy to integrate? Do you think that's the problem, or do you think that we don't have the right tools to integrate them yet?
No, I think people won't change even though the country under their feet changes. If you fly me to China, I will still be the same person. I will have the same core beliefs. It's very difficult to think that someone would lose their core beliefs if the country somehow changes. And it's also, to be honest, it's not a very nice idea that someone should give up of their core beliefs. After all, we are in favor of freedom, which means freedom of belief and this sort of the whole deal. But looking at it from the Finland perspective, we don't want people coming here and imposing like their own beliefs on us and so on. So we don't think Finland should be a Muslim country. We think maybe some Muslim country like a Turkey, for example. I think it can be a Muslim country. I mean, I have nothing really against that. It's their country. I let them be Muslim. But so I think like Finland was country of Finns as well, and is country of Finns, which means it's not becoming like a Muslim country. And they would people coming here should understand it. You can come here and you can practice your own religion, but basically try to keep it up to yourself and not to impose it on public. I don't like.
Is Muslim imposed now to Finns?
Yeah, for example, Finn schools has been forced to teach Islam.
Yes,
The basic schools and this on, but I think they should be forced in the public, basically like publicly funded places. And
but they teach all the beliefs. They teach the full range, not only one.
Yeah, but I mean,
religion.
Can I go to some Muslim country and tell them to teach me Christianity
But
the public
the
public money? I don't think it works like that.
No, but then you don't respect them because they don't have freedom of speech and they don't have freedom of act. So I guess you agree that follow that model will go against one of your core values. So we don't want
No,
to
it's
impose
it's a strict model, like I said, that when in Rome, do as Romans do, and that's a strict models. I think this is a core value that Finns and many conservative parties around the world has been. It also means actually you are defending your own values. Then, if you value like a good position of women,
yes.
I mean, do you think that Muslim in Muslim country, do you think that women are in a good position?
No, definitely no.
So why would we want to turn ourselves to that?
No, definitely no. I agree. I totally agree with that, and I think that people when then are in Finland, those open rules apply to everyone.
Yeah, and just to not to be mistaking us, because I don't think this is like they say that it like a Islamophobic or something like this. I don't think it's like that, because I don't mind. Like I said, I don't mind that much. People or nations being religiously different and using different cores, and they have to decide for themselves. I mean, like I know a lot of Muslims who work in people. Work in Finland, and they are working people, and they pay the taxes to Finland, and I understand. Yes, so I understand they do. They do have the core set of values. I think we are in Finland pretty much respecting their choice of religion also, but we have to be pretty strict about that they are not still. We are not allowing them basically to violate our core principles at the same time.
But then there is police to take care that these values and rules that we have are applied, so that women in different cultures, family, Muslim or not, but that they are not abused or that they are not blocked to access education. So I think that we have a system that can help overcome that. It's just the fact that to block, to not allow, based on the fear that something might happen, is not. It's a preventive. It's not a constructive way to see the problem. And if we step back for a second, do you think that anyway, like generally speaking, that immigration is good for Finland? Because here we easily starting from the racist, from the comment that your party is speaking more racist topics. Maybe misled a bit, but do you agree that Finland needs immigration?
I don't directly. You asked me two questions there. So first question was more like, do I see good in foreign people or something like that? But that's like a little bit of a racist question, to be honest.
Sorry.
But I mean the purpose is exactly a good. I didn't mean like as offensive, but I mean like the core question is a bit silly because Finns party, people of the Finns party, they appreciate and value people from different nationalities the same, and they all see that they share the same core values. And actually, if you're looking at the people in Finns party, I think they are very international people actually, and they very many of them have a foreign spouse, for example.
Yes.
So that's a very common thing, and I mean I have many I have friends who I'm like my best friends from many different nationalities.
Yes.
So it's not about that, but it's the second question was more about does Finland need immigration? Well, no, a country doesn't directly. I don't think you cannot really say directly that it needs immigration as whole, but a country can benefit from immigration if it's working immigrants who are good taxpayers. But if there are immigrants who are not working, then it's not beneficial.
Yeah, that I understand the point that exactly the fact that people are contributing to the society, that's really important.
Yes, and we actually, I think we have been very much welcoming people to work in Finland. Joining the European Union was, of course, a switch towards to freedom of movement, freedom of labor, which we basically are pretty favorable for. I mean, it's natural that especially countries nearby each other have a movement of labor. But if you are if you would say that. Do you think we should try to get million Chinese to move to Finland in order to to get more employees? So maybe not.
But yes, because anyway the rate of birth, it's going down all the time, right? So in Finland, less and less kids are born. I was checking that Antti Rinne was in 2017 saying that Finns should start making kids for real.
Yeah,
and
I do agree on that point.
Yes, you have 3 kids, I have 3 kids, so we've been trying to help in this.
Yeah, we tried to do our part.
Yes, exactly. But the projection and the curve went anyway down.
Yes,
and there is this if you think like a pyramid.
Yes.
And the pyramid, so the top it's smaller and the bottom it's larger. And in the Industrial Revolution, when we switched from farming, when we had a lot of kids, family had kids for taking care of the farms and the fields. So many kids on the bottom of the pyramid, that they would become adults, that they will work, they will create incomes, taxes, and then on the top of the pyramid. There would be the people retired, and so less retired people than kids and less than workers. So our economical system of pension works, and then industrialization made less kids, more worker, and more retirees. So more people in pension. So it became like a column, like a tube. And now we are going the other direction. Less kids. More people in working, but still more pensionees, more people. So it's upside down. So there is no way in which the pension system, for example, could work.
Oh well, I'm not sure about that, because the value of money changes by years, because the economic is not that simple. But we could speak about the issue. If it's a problem, we could say that you can look at it the economical view, or you can look at that we have lots of old people, and we need someone to take care of the elderly.
Yes,
this is basically the core idea in it. So it would be easiest probably if the birth rate would also always be higher than the death rate. But then again, look at what happened globally, because we spoke at the climate change, and you said you feel some importance of stopping the climate change in order. So what's the effect of overpopulation for the climate change?
So you think more people consuming, and so
well, it's over. We have it's over 8 billion people already.
Yeah. I understand.
More consumers, and you see that every politician is trying to give everyone in the world, even the poorest of Africans, the very high level standard of living of Scandinavia.
Yeah, so
no
they
matter
consume
what,
more, and I understand.
So do we really need more consumers?
If we could make the change towards green life, then the impact of each person will be reduced. So cumulatively,
if you double the population, if we have 8, we always read about the population scientist making kind of like they've been proven wrong pretty often. So I don't know what's the real limit of the world population, because some say that okay, it's gonna double, and others say that this and that. So in the end, we'll only see what happened later on. We cannot really be, certain of those forecasts, but I'm pretty sure that more population is gonna cause more emissions. It's pretty impossible to stick in front of that.
That is obvious. Well, side comment is that, as you also said, technology and investing in technology can be one of the solution. But one problem of how to steer and change and turn the climate change and the footprint of every person, it makes sense, the thought that if you are poor, really poor, you don't have time, energies or resources to think like, what is my footprint? You have to have food, and you do whatever job possible to sustain yourself and your family. So one possible way to see is that if you raise the bar and you take people away from poverty, then they can access better product, they can steer together with us the economy towards greener, because they don't have to struggle for basic food. So in that, to me, it makes sense that helped with technology we can help people to go away from poverty and start to be climate conscious, so that they make better decisions from the climate.
Yeah, sure. I understand the basic. The idea is pretty simple. So yeah, it's an argument that it's a good argument because it's been used a lot and people. It's easy to understand, but does the world really work like such an argument? I don't think it works like that. Just having something to look really simple on paper doesn't mean that it's gonna work in real life. For example, the foreign aid, Finland has been aiding with billions of euros or dollars to African countries, and we haven't seen so much result in those. So they are still in the poverty. So we can think that we are given them a lot of money, and they still haven't been able to grow. It means that we are quite far from these ideas. So we can have the ideas and we can try to somehow work with the ideas, but I'm being more pragmatical, and the lowering level of population in Finland, the aging population. I guess we have to also at the same time look at what's happening in Japan, for example, similar countries, and see how to deal with these issues, because sooner or later it's quite possible that we will anyway, actually we are already facing the problem. And because the biggest age groups of people are already very old. I mean, people between 70 and 80 they are the baby boomer generation. So I mean,
and now only 60% of the people. So we are talking about 3 million, and
but we will need more
working. So and it's going anyway down. So someone will have to pay the pension for all the amount of people.
Well, the money is. Then it comes. Then we have to again discuss: do we have the money to use it on climate change and grow our debt? So do we have to make ourselves poorer if we want to pay these pensions? I don't think we should make each other or make the nation more poorer. I think we should make it more richer. And obviously, anyone you can find any left party member, or you can find any right party member, to be honest, from the parliament, to say that we will be more richer in next 10 years if we do what he says. Everyone can say so, but I mean the speech is worth nothing. You know, you have to look at the history, what has happened, and we have gained more debt. We have gone significantly poorer. So whatever they say, you know, you can say everything. I can say, you know, pigs fly, but do they really? So I think we should be also focus on how we can do it more efficiently and taking care of the elderly. We have actually already been. I think it's actually at the moment pretty promising that if you only look at the current, you might be like kind of blinded. But if you look at the past 10 years or even 20, actually the people are living in their homes very old in Finland at the
Yes.
moment. So that's a win-win for everyone again. If a person can live in their home, it means that he is most likely, or she is most likely happier. People actually, I would like to live in my own home as long as possible. So people are, given necessary help to their homes, and that's doing so. It's cost efficient at the same time. So the old model where they had to be taken to some kind of pension homes and very heavy, so they were so expensive. So I think we actually we are gaining. I think we can be a little bit positive on this subject as well.
Of course, the what is considered the retirement age was in the ages in which the age was given was different than nowadays. Nowadays, people from 60 to even 75, they are quite healthy. Yeah. And I know that also on Twitter was your colleague Purra was saying that actually people could be called back to work. From people from 60 to 75 even, they could be still valuable in the workforce. Yeah. Do you think that this is a solution or a possible way to tackle the problem?
Well, physically, it's probably true that physically people could work more. Looking at my own parents, they are like they are way over 70. Yes. But they're very healthy, so yeah, sure. Physically they could work, but is it right? Do we think that society is only about working and being a taxpayer until you die? I don't think so. I'm saying that I would value those pension days, and once again it would be good that there would be maybe more, of your own choice voluntarily. So if someone wants to keep on working, I think we should let them do so with the great tax benefits, basically.
Exactly, because there is legislation behind anyway. There are changes.
Yeah, so that's a good idea, basically.
I was just checking that the Finnish Center for Pension, this Eläketurvakeskus, was actually, they were saying that we need 30,000 working immigrants per year to cover the pension problem. So an independent institution, because it is an independent institution, is stating quite clearly that from somewhere we need more people.
Yeah, that's an awful statement I think.
Okay.
I hate them doing that.
Okay, don't you think that
it doesn't
data-based?
No, it's just throwing up some silly ideas from like saying something that someone from above argumented and just repeating the arguments without thinking them. What if they would state that they could only say that okay, we need like a new company like Nokia to do this, or they could say anything, like it's kind of like, okay, wouldn't you find it stupid if I would say like I don't have time to clean my house, I need and 2 immigrants to get my house cleaned. I mean, in the point of perspective, I think it's really ridiculous right now that if you have any financial problem, you are always saying that okay, we will the easy solution is immigration. Well, look at how it's happened in Sweden. Obviously, immigration is not an easy solution to this.
Yeah, that's frequently taken up as an example of how, let's say, open-minded immigration policy can lead to problems. But maybe if we think like heavy immigration equal problems in the street, equal criminality, isn't it here that there is maybe a missing link, that it's how these people integrated in the society? So shouldn't we, because then we can also provide work for new people, we can call people to work in helping integrate new immigrants into the society. So a program that will help integration will also help diminish the criminality. So isn't that maybe we're missing the system?
Finland has the most. Well, yes and no. You have some point there, obviously. I mean, integrating people is one thing, which I do not. I personally I don't believe in the forced into this integration law that we have in Finland.
Yes.
I don't believe in. I think everyone should integrate on their own will. When you move to some country, you have to have the own will to integrate. That's it.
Okay.
If I'm gonna move to, and I have actually moved to a different country with a very different culture. I used to live in Thailand.
Okay.
When I moved there, I started learning Thai and I started obeying their laws and this.
Yeah, you were open-minded.
So I mean, but I mean, still in the that's the real issue. If we are having like people who are not even sure if they want to live in Finland, they might even not know anything about Finland. They just want to come here for the social benefits or this. What's the driven force for them to move here? But the question about whether these people can be used as the workforce is that businesses are pretty much aware what kind of workforce they need. So mostly it's people with some. It's people with high skill level. If you're looking at the high tech companies,
but there was a time a few years ago also that companies were screaming for people with metal working skills.
Yeah.
Then we have nurses.
Yeah.
We have teachers. So there are actually quite many segments and sectors they need more people that cannot be found here.
They can be found. So in the European Union, it's like a work reserve of 600 million people or something. Yes. We are only a nation of 5 million. So if we cannot find a work reserve we cannot find employers from a work reserve of 600 million people.
Yeah,
there must be something wrong with us, don't you think?
Yes, but now I can pick up. The accusation of being racist. I'm not saying that you are, but it seems that workers from somewhere are allowed, or workers or immigrants from another country, other countries, or other system of beliefs are not well accepted. Here I understand that the cut done in saying that someone or some people can be found somewhere seems that it is a way to draw a line that some are accepted and some not. So
yes.
This makes this, I understand, that can be seen as a racist comment and a way of thinking.
It's common, using common sense really. So I could throw it against that argument. That do you think that the Russian border should be opened and we should let everyone from Russia to move to Finland to work? Even if it would be millions.
Well, the situation it's a bit hot.
Well, do you think we should do it with the China then? If we only need employers, are you being racist against Chinese? Why don't you send a boat and ask Chinese to fill it up and send them here?
Yeah, well, if they are. If we were talking about, for example, this metal worker,
I mean, from my obviously very retarded question, you could. The point was that it's not about individuals from different origins. It's about the amount of people.
Yeah,
regulated. So that's the whole deal, and that's why I was referring that we have Polish construction workers, which are very famous in the north countries of Europe. So you have to, basically, Finns have to kind of of course, think also the question, why are they not coming to Finland then? So we are always fighting of the workforce when it comes to some professions.
Yes. But I totally agree that regulated immigration, it's important also because unregulated immigration can lead to immigrants being exploited, being used by companies, and also it means that they might be also paid in unlegal way. So it's away from the pocket, it's away from tax income. So definitely it should be regulated, so people should come in the system. I I might say, for example, because I'm an immigrant, when I moved to Finland, I was excited, but then at the beginning where I faced the difficulties of finding my own spot, finding friends. So there is a down curve when you enter, and then little by little, if you are open-minded, if you are willing, then you start building up your life. So I totally understand this point that you have, that like people have to want, but there is a moment in which the system can help to integrate, offering certain services, integration services, support.
Yeah.
So I think that can be something that helps retain people. You know, students here, application for students are quite high, and they doubled. Or they became like, half more from one year to the other, and they are almost all accepted because they are welcome. But then the retention of people is pretty low. And this, I think, it goes back to this integration that we see in work and in the studying permission, because then you will get these people after we pay for their studies. Yeah. If we want to put it in this way, then we want to benefit from them. Yeah. So I think that integration system might be a good way to actually get more money for everyone. Don't you think it's worth checking this integration system?
It's a good question to say, to ask what's wrong with the integration system then, because from my point of view, I think the problem is that it should actually put more. It should spend more public money, and it should be more based on the people coming to Finland understanding the local laws, and like basically giving the power for themselves. I think all Western countries do integration programs. I think so. So I'm not saying that we shouldn't do any, but I think the core principle should be that people should think it carefully. When they are moving abroad, they should be like open-minded to adjust to that society, instead of going there blaming that society or trying to build their own shadow society with their fellow countrymen. Yes. I know I don't want to say this the wrong way either, but I mean I see a lot of the certain nationalities only staying with their countrymen in Finland. Yeah. I can see it with my own eyes pretty well, and I do know these groups and people in those groups and how strictly they are together. Yes. But that can be natural, but once again it might be problem with the amount, like I said. Yeah. So it's not the individual. That's probably nothing wrong with most individuals, but the problem is with the building of shadow society, where the amounts of people are growing too big, and these are all societies should consider it very carefully whether they want to risk in these kind of big amounts of immigrants from maybe very far away countries and from different cultures. So our main message in politics is still that you should be like very aware of the possible side effects of bad immigrations, bad immigration policies. So yeah, but I mean, if I think of myself in the position where I would move to Italy, yes, I would assume that lots of help could be found by some sort of different groups or charity or this kind of so it wouldn't have to be like state funded. So I wouldn't like expect the state of Italy to heavily fund me there somehow, doing giving me courses that they fund and this sort of thing. Yes,
and we go now to let's say ugly fact, and it was just came now from December, from the Maaseudun Tulevaisuus, from the Countryside Future magazine, and the survey with 1,100 people asking like if Finland the government should make the immigration law easier or not. Actually, so 36% of the people say that they should not make it easier. So if I would think that you move to Italy, most likely people will welcome you. And here it's also from this surveys you can see that like there is a big amount of people that they are ideologically against it. So why do you think there is this? What is in the culture that makes people be afraid of the foreigner immigrant coming in? Because you are
first of all, it's nice to hear that Italians would be welcoming, but I'm not really that certain of looking at. If you look at I think Italy has the right-wing prime minister at the moment, don't you?
Yes.
So they are welcoming people from Africa too.
Well, it's a different. I'm talking about now. I'm talking about culture, because people are open towards new people and towards other. But then in Finland seems that the culture, people tend to be a bit afraid, and I'm not saying that they are against, but they're a bit afraid of the new coming people and the foreigners. So
okay, well, that's definitely not the case personally with me. And if someone has this kind of fears, basically, I would think they should reconsider if their fears are being rational in that point. I think, on the other hand, if you are speaking about the amount of people again, if there is a huge, massive wave of immigrants coming to the borders from countries that you can find suspicious in their politics, I think it's pretty natural not to let them in. I mean, what nation or what kingdom has survived such a wave of people? I don't think there are any. I mean, it's like asking, okay, why didn't the Indians welcome the Spanish to come to America? Why did they fought against them? Well, it's all quite obvious.
You think people have changed, and in internationalization, people are international. They
are. Yeah, you have to. I think, of course, the world is changing in terms of. I don't think we are speaking of a little bit different things and different terms. Actually, this might happen. Yes. So we should always be careful what we speak. Now we are not even speaking on our native languages, so should be careful. But I mean, I think, my neighbors from a quite long time and moving to different houses my neighbors has quite often been from some other nation than Finnish.
Yes.
And I haven't found any problem with that.
Yes.
Because I look at everyone as an individual, and when you meet someone, I'd like to meet them as an individual. I don't believe in the I'm not looking into some individual and trying to necessarily make him like a part of some collective. But when I'm a member of parliament, I'm looking at the policies. I cannot just go and say let the Russians come, because they are only like let the million Russians come now because they are each individual, and I'm sure they are not in favor of Putin if I go ask each individually. So it's not gonna work like that. I understand the problem seen like in a small, in 1 unit, 2 unit, and then manage the problem at scale when it is on the full scale of. And I mean, I was using the Russia as an example actually because people are very familiar with that situation, so it's kind of like easy to them to pick up. But if you look at Iraq war, and actually those situations were pretty tense also. Yeah. So taking and I think I've been equally opposing even my so-called fellow countrymen from entering Finland, because when there were Finnish nationalities who went to join the ISIS terrorist organization, I think we should close the border and let them stay there. Yes. They went so I think it's kind of
mutual.
Kind of mutual. So I would be very careful of taking. That's why I would be very careful of taking some people from certain nations massively. So I think the amount that we can handle once again is in the very core of the discussion. How much?
Yeah. Okay, Ville. If you briefly conclude and you tell us what do you see? How do you picture Finland to be in the next 4 years? Where would you lead Finland? Well,
in the next 4 years, it would be a next parliamentary term.
Yes.
if the Finns party would be in charge, I think we would have economically better future, and I hope at the same time Finns could be proud of their country and find their national identity again. So I would like them to also do that, but right now the economics is of course our main concern. Yes. So I would like to see taking 4 billion less debt, to be exact. We know the amounts.
Yes.
So yeah.
Okay. Thank you, Ville, so much.
Thank you.
See you.
Thank you. See you.
Bye.
Bye.